Hey guys, welcome back to the Fulco. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a little look at a few areas that I really want to see Spurs improving on. I've mentioned them recently in a couple of the videos, looking at the pre-season games, the Bayern, the PSG, and now our first competitive Premier League game. There are some bits and pieces that, as I've said, I believe that Thomas Frank and his coaching staff have not yet kind of been able to layer into the team, and it's particularly with respect to the attacking side of things. And I think the Burnley game was a really good game to kind of pick up on things like that. So hopefully on the screen right now you can see exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to go through a few slides from the game and just take a look at what I think we really need to improve. And before we go too far into this video, we should absolutely note that we were playing with a very young midfield trio in this game. So these are players with huge runways ahead of them in terms of their development and their improvement. And so let's keep that in mind when we're thinking about who they are and where they could get to in terms of their careers. So let's start it off. You can see here one of the things that I've been talking about is bravery. I think we lacked it in the Burnley game at times. Some players certainly didn't, but others did. And as a unit, we weren't necessarily as brave as we needed to be at all times. And that led to us not being able to progress the football out of defence. And that in turn gave Burnley quite large chunks of the game to kind of come back into it, particularly the second half of the first half. They had counter-attacks, of course, which is what we're expecting from them. But again, these are the kind of things that if you take these kind of risks, and the manager has referenced it in interviews, if you take these kind of risks, then you are again doing something positive that can stop the opposition from getting a foothold in the game. So let's have a little look at this image here. You can see circled in red, and you'll have to excuse my childlike graphics here on the screen. You can see Romero is very clearly telling his midfield, I want somebody inside there. Look at that huge green box, the amount of space. Burnley have been really brave. They've thrown players up, but they're not running into a high press. Okay, so they're sitting off us and they're blocking passing lanes, but this is not a difficult press to get around. They will have a trigger that if this ball moves side to side, they will start to run in, close down the angles, close down the passing lanes, and try and funnel us into a dangerous position or send us facing back towards our own goal, and then they will throw players forward. It's well coached, and Scott Parker has got this out of his Burnley team. He showed last season that he can get this out of his team. If we move on to the next slide, you can clearly see Romero saying here, I need somebody in there. I want somebody in there so I can break this first line of the press. So if we move it on, you can see here we're in another bit of build up. It's not the same phase of play, but we're in another bit of build up, and in this time we're a bit higher up the pitch. We've only got 2 Burnley players at this moment in time covering us, but Hannibal is coming up to make that third man, and what they're saying is, you guys, we're shutting down the right hand side of the field, you're just going to shuffle it out to the right hand side. We've got 2 players over there, you can see them ringed over by Lucas Berval. And then they're going to shift, and everybody will shift over, and they're going to try and keep doing that, keep funneling us into positions where they want us, until eventually they can either nick it or send us backwards or try and create something for themselves. Again, look at the space in behind Archie Gray. So we've gone to try and stretch the play. We've perhaps because of the previous phase of play, actually finds himself all the way out here on the left hand side, so he's screaming for the ball. He'd like the ball over here, but Berval has moved himself up high to try and get out of the way and try and pull those 2 Burnley players to give them something to think about off their shoulder. And Archie Gray has that massive swathe of grass that he could drive into if we were a bit braver. So can we be braver? Can we move this ball? Can we get it to go in between these players here? Can we move it around here to get in between here? But as we're seeing in this one, Archie Gray's making the move here. Are we going to be brave enough to play that pass into there? So that's absolutely key. The answer to the question, unfortunately, is no. And that amount of space there with two players worried about Berrival off their shoulder. They will come up if this ball goes in here, and that amount of space to turn into. So lots and lots of opportunity here. Players of the quality that we've got, they should be able to do this. They should be. We've got the quality of pass from Romero. They should be able to go ahead and get control of that ball and play. So that's disappointing that we didn't do that in that respect. Another element of not being brave enough on the ball is a much simpler approach, and we know that Thomas Frank's tactics allow for long balls and quick balls forward. So it's unlike, for example, an Ange system where a ball like that would be frowned upon. That's not the way he wants us to play. Under Thomas Frank, that is absolutely fine. There is no problem putting the ball forward with a bit of quality, with a well-timed run. In this situation, you can't see him, but Archie Gray's made that run. He's made a brilliant run. And what's just happened before that is Pedro Porro had good possession, head up, time on the ball, and he didn't play the ball. He didn't go for it. He wasn't brave enough in that moment in time, and he's just recycled it. So it's come all the way back. And you can see he knows. He's got his hand up there, circled. He's got his hand up because Archie Gray has made a great run, and he did make a few of them, a few good runs trying to penetrate going forward. We've got cover and balance here, so we're okay. We've got the two other midfielders. The midfielders are rotating, they're moving around, so they're changing who's at the base, who's in the 8, and who's gone further forward. But instead, he's not played the ball, he's played it back. We weren't brave enough, we didn't give ourselves an opportunity. And to add to this, next to Gray, further on in this image, you've got Richarlison, who could also be another option if he gets nice and close. Kudus is up here and Brennan Johnson's out there. So you've got loads of players up into that high line to try and win the initial contact if the ball's not good enough and it drops short, and then to counter press. So we should have played that ball. Now, let's look at the next element of bravery, and this is both for Archie Gray and for Lucas Berrival. So I've picked on Lucas, sorry Lucas, but in the next couple of slides you're going to see. Berrival in this instance, we've played the ball out, we've bounced it out to Jed Spence, and Jed Spence has played a nice ball. Now Berrival's come all the way across the pitch to collect this ball, and he's moving in this big old bit of space here. You can see here the box, the Burnley box, to try and separate us, but they are so far away. There's loads of time, and at this moment in time he's run all the way across. They're not going to send anybody up here. We've already got one player of that front three that we've already seen trying to shuffle us into corners, going for Jed Spence. Jed Spence had time, he had separation, he played the ball inside, and now because Jed Spence gets on his bike, the Burnley player has to go with him, so he has to pin and go with Jed Spence. He cannot come in and commit to this ball. Hannibal can come in and commit to this ball, but he is miles away. You can see this is the moment that Berrival has control of the football, but he's not checked his shoulder. Young player, these are the kind of things, this is the kind of stuff that if you are going to be the 8 that knits everything together, if you're going to be a number 10, this is the kind of stuff you need to be doing. What he does, you can see it here, these are the passes, the green arrows, is he comes in here, and that is for me absolutely no. His first touch, he takes it safe on his right foot and across his body. He doesn't need to, he's got so much time. And again, it's one of those things, like, oh, why didn't someone call to him? But people are miles away. He has got loads of space. He should know, he should be checking his shoulder as he's coming across. He hasn't done that. And then as he gets into that position, he's got to have the quality to be looking over his shoulder, open himself out, and he's got so many options here. He could open himself out and drive with the ball. He can open himself out and pin this player and then let other players come in and start playing them into the game. He's got cover. He's got cover. Yeah, he could drive across the pitch and try and open it up on the far side where you're going to have Pedro Porro higher up the pitch. This kind of stuff is the opportunity to be really brave on the ball, and in this situation, given the time and the space that he had available, it's really disappointing that he came inside, but he will learn this. This is the kind of stuff that he's going to get feedback on today in the video room. He will have done this, or tomorrow at the latest they're going to go in, they're going to do this kind of stuff. He's going to get these notes. This was a real opportunity to do damage or to get into a good position. Similar kind of thing. I know I'm picking on Berival, but it's not just him as an individual. This is the kind of thing, it's about attitude, it's about confidence, and these are really, really young players, and so it's the kind of thing that is going to come with time. In this particular instance, he does much better. Okay, he manages to get out, he managed to come in, pick up the ball. We've played the ball out of defence, in through here. He's managed to nick it round the player, and now in this particular instance, he has rushed it. He's put his head down. So I've tried to get the screenshot at the moment. He's put his head down, and the image, or the picture in coaching terms, that he's got in his head is Kudus 1v1 space. Okay, so that's what's in his mind, and therefore there is nothing else he's thinking of than get that ball to Kudus quickly. However, for me, that's a mistake in this situation. I think he could just take a beat, take a more positive touch, assess your surroundings. You have got the time for one more touch without slowing down this move, if that is the right pass. Okay, so if you drive into here with one more touch, you're not going to get caught. You're not going to. This player here is the key in this situation. If you take a touch, you are therefore pinning him. He cannot just go running away with Kudus, yeah, because if he does, you start charging through this gap here. No one's going to catch him. He can go charging through here, and everything's going to start opening up. Look at the amount of space. We could have strikers dropping in, or wide forwards coming into play. Loads of opportunity to really do some damage. But he's made the decision, he's seen it, and he's gone, and he just needs to wait a bit, just a bit more patient, and then you can assess the situation. He put his head down, he played it to Kudus's back foot, so that slowed everything down. Kudus has had to get on the half turn backwards to collect the ball, and then that gives the defender the chance to come in. Recovery runners start to come in, and defenders hold their line, and what ends up happening is Kudus has to chop inside onto his left foot, and eventually it all goes a bit wrong, and it's snuffed out. So these are examples of how you can be a little bit braver, and it's not just about playing super quick. Sometimes one more touch just to assess the situation, and again, drive into this space. If you pin him, you've got a great opportunity here. He's got to stand you up. If no one catches you, he's got to stand you up now. He can't just run away. He stands you up, and you've got the option of playing a ball on the outside so Kudus can run wide, on the inside so Kudus can run inside towards the number 10 position on the ball. So many great options for really causing trouble and keeping him on the move rather than getting him on the half turn backwards. All learning opportunities for a young player, but he will get there. I do have faith. He's a fantastic technician. This is another angle of the same thing. You can see here as he's pulling his foot back to play the pass, that's the picture he's seen is this, right? So he's looked over and he's seen all of this acreage of space. He's played it to his back foot, so it's the execution of the pass. Worst case scenario, he feels he has to play that ball early, lift it, clip it in on this side of the defender, give him an opportunity to be running towards goal instead of away from goal. So give this defender a real headache where he's running across his path, because he's either going to have to take him out if he's not quick enough to get there, or he's in a difficult situation where Kudus can actually get in front of him, he can get goal side of him, and that is a nightmare for a defender in that situation. Great positioning to do some damage here as well. Anyway, he's going to learn from that kind of stuff. Here we can see the results of not being brave. So what I've done is I've taken a screenshot after a passage of play where we have been knocking it around. We've refused to play it into midfield. No one has come in to collect the ball. We've now drawn everybody back, and Burnley have done their thing where they've managed to use the 3 plus the 2 deeper players to shuffle us over until eventually they've pinned us in the corner, and they've got us exactly where they want us. And the result of this is they win the ball back. We give the ball away over here with Porro. It's a sloppy moment. We give the ball away. They work it quickly to the edge of the box, and then they get a strike that goes just wide of the post. This is exactly what Burnley were coached to do, is exactly what they were hoping for. Filter us backwards, nick it, pinch it, get a block, get a tackle in, and then try and go on a counter-attack from high up the pitch. better quality players, we could have been in big trouble from this. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail, but linked to that bravery thing, the rotations, this is an area that I think we're going to see improve. It's definitely something that I don't think has been worked on a great deal at the moment under Thomas Frank, but here we had a great opportunity. We're in the second half now. We had a great opportunity. Look, we've got players advanced, we've got good possession of the ball, we've got players moved over to create these gaps so these players can't come across to provide cover, and so we're in a position where we're 3 against 3 and then 1v1, so 4v4 but 1v1 out here, and then we've got a 3v3. These players, particularly these 3, but all 4 of these players can start to rotate. They can start to move into each other's positions. Give all of these players, because they cannot go man for man. These 2 can move about a bit more freely, but these 2 can't just all of a sudden, he can't just follow him all the way out wherever he goes, okay? He's got to hold his position. So this can cause absolute nightmares if you get these rotations right. You drag them all over the place, and then you've got loads of opportunities for gap balls, little balls around the side, ball passes, 1-2s, all of that kind of stuff. I want to see all of that good stuff going forward, and then we will be a much better team in terms of causing the opposition problems. And then last but not least, I'm going to leave it on this one, just that note. And again, you'll say, well, all of this is from one game, all of these screenshots are from one game. The only reason I raise them is because they've been seen across the pre-season games and the PSG game as well. So we've conceded a few goals by defending too deep. Thomas Frank has this zonal system that he uses where he puts the 2 lines inside the penalty area, but we've had quite a few goals scored against us. Obviously great finishes in the Bayern game, but we've had opportunities coming up because we drop quite deep. The PSG game's another example, the first goal, the league goal. This situation, Kudus, I think, on the edge of the box here. He's got his play. He's got to keep his eye on Hannibal, so he's got to stay until the moment that ball ends up going over here. But because our 2 lines are so deep from a set piece, so that zone and this zone, there is a lot of time and space in here for this player to come on. And now he comes on and he hits this without quality. He kind of spanners the ball. But again, somebody would have had time in that situation to actually bring that ball down, or a better quality player gets a more dangerous strike, either a strike on target, or you just drill it in through these players and it starts ricocheting about, being a real problem. This is something I think they need to work on. They need to just get their distances right. And I know when the ball is swinging inwards from a corner, which is where this came from, you have to be super careful about everybody being in their zones, everybody attacking it, and the closer everyone is, the less space they have to cover and the more congested it is for the opposition. But we have to look at this situation, and we have to remember that we cannot afford huge swathes on either side and around very close on the edge of the box, because good quality teams will punish us. So again, something I'd like to see layered on top of what the coaching staff are already doing from a defensive perspective. That's it, guys. I'm going to leave it there. If you do like these videos, I will be returning to this kind of thing and to the tactics board. So thanks very much for watching, and as ever, come on, Tottenham.